I am representing Bochum University, which had the consortium lead within the IHL RED project. And me in particular, I had the very thankful role to be the project coordinator. So throughout the last 3 years, I had the privilege to work with the colleagues from Rome and from Leiden on this excellent task and try to tie it all together under, I think, sometimes a bit tough circumstances. And before we actually go into the details and prepare a little bit of the work that we've done that we are very proud of, let me start by addressing maybe also a few of the challenges up front. We've heard about acquiring finances as being a problem. And for us, this was also the case. It wasn't quite easy. We applied within the Erasmus Plus cooperation partnerships funding lines. And as some of you might have heard, in the first year, we got rejected, but we received good feedback and good hints. And being on the topic and, staying gritty and ironing out some flaws, we handed it in the second year with some adjustments, and we finally managed to get some funding. So good news, we were really happy. And then the next bummer came, because initially we were supposed to be 4 partners within this IHL RED Consortium, because the University of Glasgow, under the clinic lead of Professor Christian Tams, was also a member. But the problem was Brexit happened, and by 2021, when our project started, they had all the technicalities figured out, the European Union and Great Britain. And so Glasgow was allowed to be a formal member of the consortium, but not eligible to receive any funding. So with zero money for their tasks, they decided, and no one can blame them for that, to opt out. But for us, that meant that the proposal we had handed in and the deliverables we had agreed on, initially to be put together by 4 partners, needed to be done by 3. So it was even tougher and even extra work. So bear with us. There's still 5 more months within this project to go. And I think we are 95% where we want to be, but the full results will, of course, have to be delivered by the end of October. And I'm also saying this because within the logic of this project, iterations were kind of included by design. So the idea was that we get our ideas of our project results out there as soon as possible, and then collect your invaluable feedback to work on them and to make them better and to make them more, useful for you guys, because ultimately that is the goal. If you look at this wonderful project website, ihl-red.org, which will hopefully remain indefinitely for a long time to come, you see that we have the catchphrase empowering the next generations of IHL practitioners. A bit more technical, but nonetheless, I want to read you the actual objective of the project, and that was that the IHL RED project aims to establish clinical legal education in the area of IHL and humanitarian affairs as a core component of legal training in the European education area for the benefit of future generations of students. Long and technical, in the end, we pooled our expertise to really come up with innovative tools and resources that are of use for you. We wanted to make it so easy to set up new clinics, to inspire students, to inspire potential also academics, of course, to set this up, because it's such a worthy endeavor. And so we were asked to come up with innovative project results that provide this value. And these are the ones that we are going to present to you. We had a system where one of the partners was in the lead for the projects, but nonetheless, all of them were joint efforts. But this is, of course, why I'm on stage here with my distinguished colleagues, Laura and Robert, who will be taking over or presenting the parts where their universities had the leads. So what are we talking about? We came up with a manual on how to set up a clinic reports, an e-learning course, guidelines and audiovisual materials, and ultimately an IHL clinic network. And so I think maybe just going through them in the order they appear on the website, we may start with the clinic manual, which has been developed under the guidance of Leiden University. If you click here, you can get the always updated or current version of the manual as a PDF. And Robert, I would love to hand over to you to tell us a little bit more how this document came into being.
Find a way to deal with too many hangers here. So, ladies and and gentlemen. Yes. However, if I talk about this manual, some of you might already think like, but there was already a manual. I heard about this. So this is probably the 5th edition of the IHL Clinic manual. And originally, we started with this idea of setting up a manual when Jelena Plamenac, who was here in the audience before, is now working for the Leiden IHL Clinic, but back then she was working for Diakonia in Lebanon, and she had the idea to disseminate the idea of clinical legal education to the colleagues in the Middle East. And she organized a conference or workshop in Amman and invited me and my then PhD fellow Sophia Poulopoulou to come there and actually give the colleagues from various countries of the region some ideas how to set up a clinic. And so that was like the first, I don't know, 10-page, 20-page manual which we started, and that was back then mainly based on the experiences from the Leiden IHL clinic, partly also from the Bochum clinic, because at that point I think I was already invited from Bochum to come there. When we now won that grant, the Erasmus Plus grant, we realized this is extremely helpful because as some of you know, when you want to create a clinic and you are not someone who lives in the US, where clinical legal education is like a cornerstone of every law faculty, sometimes it's really difficult to even start that project, because you might want to have impact in practice, you might want to involve students, but it might be helpful to have insights from someone who has done this before. And in the end, our IHL Clinic manual, as you now find it on the website, is trying to merge the experiences of various clinics which have already been established for a few years, also from various regions, and to somehow give a starting an idea on how to set up a clinic. This includes, we have now changed this to a 3-step approach, which we are suggesting. Originally, it was a 5-step approach, but we merged this because we think 3 main steps might be helpful to get this clinic started. First, integrating the clinic into the academic environment, meaning incorporating the clinic into the framework of your academic institution, define the clinic's learning objectives, get it accredited, and assess possible funding streams. So that can work in different ways. And that's also important. We make it very clear that in this manual, we are suggesting certain ways how to start, but there is no one-fit-all solution. Yeah? It's a selection of best practices. Very much depends on, do you do this on a bachelor level? Do you do it in a master level? Is it a specialized master? Is this a program mainly for lawyers? Or, for example, the NOAA program has a variety of students with different backgrounds, engineers, medical doctors, etc. And so you need to find different ways how to design your programs. But of course, if you want to establish it at a university, as at an academic institution, you might want to find out how do I go about it. Yeah, and I usually always said, yeah, start with the concept paper, make a bit of a business plan. Yeah, as if you're pitching a young internet company. I always had the feeling at the beginning. Yeah, you need to persuade people who maybe have never heard about clinical legal education. I know my first talks were more or less usually followed by the answer, but you're not a medical doctor. Why do you want to establish a clinic? Yeah, so and in that regard, we try to give some advice. I'm not going into all the details because I have the tendency to talk too long. So second step, attracting cooperation partners and clinic projects. So we had now quite a number of ideas during this conference, during this workshop here, how to do that. But if you don't remember all the tips, or if you want to have it written down, the manual more or less also tries to show the advantages and disadvantages. Of course, when you start a clinic and you know about IHL, you think maybe the dream is to work with the ICRC. And I love Etienne, but it was definitely not my first step to work with the ICRC, because it's a big organization. And if you're just starting with your clinic, you don't maybe want to have the biggest partner in the first moment, yeah, because you need first to gain maybe experience. So my idea was always National Red Cross societies are a good starting point, Red Crescent societies, or smaller human rights NGOs. So how to do that, and also giving you tips like, don't do it like Robert, because I started with 6 projects with 24 students in the first semester. I'm not sure whether I slept at all. I think that was worse than having my little baby boy at home with regard to sleep deprivation. But it was a learning experience, yeah, because next year I only had 1 project, and then I overcompensated and tried to balance this out. So we are trying to give you advice in that regard. And then running and supervising the clinic projects, how to manage these clinic projects. Do you give a lot of leeway to the students? Are you supervising them yourselves? Do you have teaching assistants, researchers, PhD fellows, other colleagues? Again, depends on your circumstances. We try to offer various possibilities how to do that. For me, it helped extremely that I actually tried to have an overview, like a little painting with names and who helps me and who are the students. That can also help you to persuade like the head of your department whether that all makes sense. I actually want to say that like overview was the one thing which persuaded a lot of people to help me, which is also like an constantly reoccurring theme in our clinic manual. From my perspective, it's always helpful to have allies also in your faculty and in your department, and not do it completely on your own. Yeah, and that the first year I had 6 alumni who helped me, so students who had just graduated, and that's the beauty of it. I usually never had problems to persuade young people that clinical legal education is a great idea. So they were immediately on board to give me pro bono help with the whole project. But I also had like one younger colleague who invested a lot in the clinic in the first 2 years and helped me in moments when I wanted to give it up after 1 year or 1.5 years, because he said, no, everyone loves it, like continue. And I also sometimes say it's maybe good to have different characters in a clinic team. So I'm always happy to admit that I'm not good in finances, and Johanna is more or less our finance minister at the KGF, even though she might not want that job or something. But so to have a bit of complementary personalities can help. But yeah, so, and apart from about now, I don't know, 25 pages of selected best advice and best practices, we also give a list of resources where can you look at and read articles or blog posts on how to conduct a clinic. But we also have a sample IHL clinic manual, which is another thing we established after a while in order to streamline the efforts, because clinics are run differently than a course. Students might not know what they expect. And so we came up, or my team actually came up with like a whole list of guidance on what to take into account. And I think that's extremely important to manage expectations, also how many hours they have to invest, but also with regard to confidentiality, that they should not even talk with their partner about the projects and things like this. What email to use, etc., etc. So there's a sample IHL Clinic student manual also in inserted annex to the IHL clinic manual. But of course, that's very special to the Leiden experience and might need to be amended according to your circumstances. Overall, we hope this helps a little bit. Sorry for taking so much time. If you have any questions, just send me an email or check it out online. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Robert. I think this is really a centerpiece of the project results. As you said, it's a very comprehensive document where you can find pretty much all of the aspects just touched upon. Another thing we showcase, and I think I can keep this a bit shorter, are the clinic reports. So the ones we can actually share from past clinics. I think this is interesting because if people want to use this resource, they can just have a look at what does a final product look like. They can get a sense of what have these clinics been working on? What different angles might there be? How big, how small can a project be? And what is actually doable and achievable in a given time? Because of course, we let them know whether this is a project that has been done in one semester, whether this has been done in 1 year. And it's just, to give you a feel on what students are actually able to accomplish. But nonetheless, it also disseminates the work that has been done by the clinics. And so we will continue to fill this. And eventually, now it's the IHL RED homepage, but as we talk about the clinic network, we will integrate this anyways and grow this into a hub for the resources. So of course, we might think of eventually also including the work of other clinic partners. It doesn't have to be exclusively that, or we find a different folder for this, but nonetheless, we want to showcase what these clinics do. All right, maybe I just leave it at this for this point in time, and then the next project result would be a dedicated e-learning course. And for that, I would, before we actually play a video, I think, love to hand over to Laura.
Thank you, Robin. And on behalf of the Roma 3 team, I have to say that we are also very proud of the results that we have produced so far and of the final products that will be in full uploaded in the next few weeks in the website. I'll go straight to the point so as to steal as little time as possible. One thing that I believe applies to all of these outputs is that they complement each other. They are meant to be instruments to be used together. And in this respect, the e-learning course, Creating and Managing an IHL Legal Clinic, directly complements the IHL Clinic manual that Robert has showcased to you. In order to do so, it's meant to be a digital companion, so as to be a more user-friendly tool. Of course, our main audience, as for the clinic manual, is interested academics, IHL professors who want to set up a legal clinic and who want to have an idea of how to do this. But at the same time, we also believe that it's interesting for students as well, who might be interested in getting engaged with IHL Legal Clinics, because one of the questions that had emerged already in this morning's session is how to encourage students' participation, how to attract students, how to sell the Legal Clinics product to students who are, after all, the pulsing heart of clinical legal education. And we believe that these video course and these tools can also represent really useful outputs to this dissemination purpose for students as well. At the same time, we also believe that these can be materials to be disseminated to potential partner organizations and potential clients to allow everyone potentially involved in the work of legal clinics to familiarize with the characteristics of this teaching methodology. And of course, our e-learning videos are really a collaborative effort. And I really thank all staff participating and putting their face on the website and deciding to have these video lectures. These are short overall video lectures of around 10 to 15 minutes, which overall follow the structure of the clinic manual and also add a little bit of guidelines, not only best practices and suggestions, but also integrate the guidelines that we also have created and that will be displayed to you in a few minutes. What is interesting and what I really would like to highlight about this video course is that we decided to also ask our former and current clinical students to participate and to put also their face and their voices into this project. And they were really happy to participate. So during this exchange conference, we managed to record video interviews to students to ask directly their experiences. And so these videos are also integrated with their perspective. And this is also a very good way to attract students to hear directly from their voices. Yes, I think at this point we can showcase maybe the introductory, well, a little part of the introductory video, which was recorded by Giulio.
Welcome to the IHL RED e-learning course, Creating and Managing an IHL Legal Clinic. I'm Giulio Bartolini, full professor of international law at Roma Tre University, director of the Roma Tre IHL Legal Clinic, and part of the IHL RED Consortium. The International Humanitarian Law Research, Education and Dissemination Consortium, in short, IHL RED, is an Erasmus Plus cooperation partnership in higher education between the IHL Legal Clinics hosted by the Universities of Bochum in Germany, Leiden in the Netherlands, and Roma Tre in Italy. The IHL RED Consortium aims to tie together cutting-edge research, education, and training.
Stop it before Giulio gets too embarrassed. But yeah, as you can see, this is still a work in process. The recordings, the videos have already been recorded by the 3 partner universities, and we are now in the post-production phase. So this is really something that will be uploaded quickly on the IHL RED website. And I will go straight to the second output that the Roma Tre clinic led. Again, with the cooperation of all 3 partners, and also thanks to the experiences that we collected through the previous exchange conferences that we had on the topic. These are for now described as tools, evaluation tools, but actually are more of guidelines. I believe that you may know already that there are similar initiatives at the European level that have been developed. Particularly, a significant initiative has been developed by the European Network for Clinical Legal Education, who has started a European process concerning the development of quality standards for the management of legal clinics. However, we also wanted to follow up on this process that has been initiated in Europe. We have also been discussing how to ensure quality services to both students and cooperating partners. And we decided also to include in one of our outputs the development of a set of standards, of quality standards for legal clinics. I think we can open it just to, if we may. So it is, no, it's just, yes, just to showcase to you the table of contents. So of course, the standards of quality are necessary to constitute basic regulations for legal clinics to operate and to ensure the effective performance of the 2 main functions of legal clinics, which are on the one hand, the provision of a quality educational project for students, and on the other hand, the provision of quality services for external partners and organizations. So also to showcase partners and clinics that clinical legal education is serious and its work is regulated in conformity with certain quality standards, we decided to take the best practice and the experience of the process initiated in Europe by ENCLE and to develop it within the specific field of IHL legal clinics. So how do these guidelines differentiate themselves from those that are already existing? On the one hand, they are, as I said, tailored on the specificities of IHL legal clinics. And we do believe that the entire activity of IHL legal clinics is really shaped by, at the very least, one specific aspect, which is the broader dissemination purpose that characterizes IHL clinics as one of the tools to disseminate IHL among civilian populations. And you will find within the guidelines the way in which this dissemination main objective or main value system or mission of IHL Legal Clinics really shapes its activities and regulates its everyday activities. Potential use. First and foremost, our suggestion is for novel legal clinics or already existing legal clinics which do not have any specific regulation for the quality of services to just officially adopt them as their policy. At the same time, of course, these guidelines were developed as all of our outputs having, well, from European IHL legal clinics and having European IHL legal clinics in mind. So there are some aspects to it and to them which are specific for actors operating in Europe. For instance, we have regulations on data protection, which of course refer back to instruments such as the GDPR. So besides officially adopting them, formally adopting them as the clinic's regulations, this can also be used as a starting point for developing a clinic's own guidelines, quality and development of quality standards, and adapt it to the specific characteristics of the jurisdiction in which the IHL clinic operates. And finally, of course, these regulations are a starting point. They're not meant to be strictly followed line by line, but they are meant to start to offer a baseline over which legal clinics can develop, from which legal clinics can develop their own best practices, their own set of guidelines. And of course, these are not intended to inhibit innovation in clinical legal education. One further element that I would add to the specificity of these guidelines as compared to other existing instruments, such as those developed by ENCLE, is the fact that existing guidelines so far only set regulations, only set quality standards, but do not offer and do not integrate these regulations with best practices. And we believe that a quality standard instrument should also incorporate the experience that our legal clinics and the other legal clinics have and can bring to the table to enrich the regulation of their activities. So we also believe that this can be a really useful tool, and we see this as as being part of a broader process that has been going on in Europe in the past few years.
Thank you, Laura. Not finally, but the next result that we would love to show are audio-visual materials. And that is actually quite fun. And I look very much forward to playing those, because what we thought of is that we need advertising clips, short videos that not only address the different target groups, prospective students, but of course also academics or potential clinic partners, but that we also thinking of advertising our project results. So we will also make short videos on our project results. And I'm saying this so bluntly because it's incredible what generative AI is capable of. When you have a good script and a good idea, you can really have a high output of very tailor-made specific clips, which is extremely useful, because then we can experiment a little bit with what message or what kind of video and a tool you use to reach different audiences reaps the best results. And of course, we will gladly share these clips. They are made in a way that they can be easily shared on TikTok, on Instagram. Of course, the YouTube link is going to be permanent. We can, of course, also change them, because it's a quite powerful tool that can be used and that our universities have access to. So I'm saying this because looking for your feedback and also for potential further ideas. If you say there is a good way, a good angle that we could use to a short 30 to 45 second advertising video fostering our goals, then we are more than open to take that into account and produce a video like this. So without further ado, I think we have two already uploaded. One addresses prospective students and one is more focusing on the academics. Maybe we start with the one on the left, and then I will. Why is that not found? That at least works. The other one should have been uploaded to our YouTube account as well, but we will make sure that it will be eventually.
Are you a master student looking for a unique and impactful learning experience? Introducing the International Humanitarian Law Clinic, an innovative program designed to empower master students and make a real difference in the world.
In the Law Clinic, you will have the opportunity to work on legal issues for humanitarian NGOs under the guidance of experienced supervisors.
You'll gain practical skills and real-world experience by tackling legal challenges that directly impact the lives of those in need.
We often face legal hurdles that we simply cannot afford to address. The support we receive from the Law Clinic is invaluable.
Your work will have a tangible impact on the lives of individuals and communities around the world.
Being a part of the Law Clinic has been a transformative experience. I feel empowered to make a difference through my legal skills.
Join the Law Clinic and become a force for positive change. Make a difference. Join the Law Clinic today.
Yeah, so this was the first one. Again, I don't know why the other one is not working, but we'll figure that out. And of course, all these clips will be available eventually. And hopefully you guys use them and share them to, yeah, attract more and more people to this very valuable cause. Finally, we have the IHL Clinic Network. And this is, of course, also the function of this page, the hub, where we want to tie it all together and provide yeah, contacts, you know, and maybe links to other existing clinics, to people, individual people. The way to join is to click on this link, and then you will be asked some information. But then, of course, we will list clinics and people. At this point in time, due to the GDPR and the regulations in terms of data protection, we have yet to ask everyone for their consent to present the information on this website. And so at this point in time, it is only the 3 clinics of the consortium with their respective contexts. And what we also have yet to implement, because it would be a bit boring with only 3 European clinics, is a world map where you can actually see clustered for each region where do clinics exist and where are people that want to work and want to engage. So under people, for example, you can provide information that you are willing to share. Say, I'm a clinic director, I'm looking for partners, I want to start a clinic, I'm just an engaged individual. And so we hope with this, and of course with the consent of Have Your Data Shared, this helps also to bring people together and to bridge this this knowledge gap. And one further thing that in the upcoming 5 months will still be complement this Global Clinic Network is a Moodle course. Moodle, you probably know, is a dedicated university platform. We will link it. And within this Moodle, you will have to register. This is then a tool where we can actually also engage on a bit more in detail questions and yeah, help out with a little bit more specific issues that might not be addressed on a general website like this. And of course, ultimately, I've said it, we rely on your input and on your suggestions. And I think with this conference, within this conference, already a few came to mind. For example, a template on how newly founded clinics can approach partners. This is, I think, something, a 1-pager or a 2-pager that would be of great help. Jakob Nikfayam told us what he would expect from a potential clinic approaching them. And so I think we can maybe, yeah, support this process still. Anyway, this is where we stand. Those are the deliverables that we have put together in a lot of hard work, and you know, we put a lot of effort and thought into this. 5 more months to go until they're finalized, but I think I speak for all of us when I say we are very proud of what we have achieved so far, and we of course look forward to engaging with you guys any further. And yeah, with being 10 minutes over time and without further ado, I maybe still would open the floor for comments or questions, suggestions, if you have any for us.
Thank you. First, I would like to say congratulations. You have been doing such a wonderful work, but at the same time, you it's helpful for the other clinics, not only in Europe. I think it's very helpful for the region. Actually, I was sending an email to my colleagues from the other clinics because those advice that you are giving about managing, for example, they are very useful. My question relates to the objective. You said that the objective is was related to international humanitarian law to promote, but also you talk about humanitarian affairs, and I found that point you and I also check on the website that you also talk about humanitarian affairs. So are you also you also uh, including as part of the objectives other aspects of humanitarian assistance? I remember, I don't know if you're, for example, thinking about regulations on the humanitarian assistance, the Sfera project, and other aspects, or do you think that it could allows the IHL clinics to see in from a more open perspective all the role that we can have on the humanitarian world? That would be my question.
I mean, I think first of all, excellent question. I think the fact that we included this information on the website stems a little bit from the fact that our Bochum clinic is a bit particular, because for us, it's not necessarily only law students, but as a matter of fact, they are students of international humanitarian action in our master program. So they come from a diverse field and have more diverse backgrounds, and we complement this with law students, which in itself creates a good dynamic and brings in a little bit different perspectives. And so I think over the past, you can say we have also been maybe a bit more flexible in terms of the kind of clinic projects that we are approaching. Not all of you were here the previous 3 days where we had a clinic exchange conference where the students would actually meet and present their projects. And for example, one of our projects was on memes and mimetic warfare. So I think this is probably a bit of an outlier in terms of the classical, more purely legally focused clinic projects. But yeah, I think opening this up is definitely a way to go. And I think since 2018, a proven track record, at least for the way we conducted it.
Maybe 2 sentences on Hugo's suggestion. At the end of the day, the main aim of this IHL RED Consortium was to give practical advice in order to create and manage IHL clinics, first of all. I would say, given the fact that we are also publishing or trying to have like a repository for IHL reports, you might find quite some substantive reports on certain areas which also go beyond IHL proper, not just conduct of hostilities, etc. And of course, in the perfect world, this is a living document which could be hopefully expanded in the future if other people want to contribute. But as Robin said, part of this whole grant was also hosting these exchange conferences for our students every year, producing these videos, setting up the website, etc. So we were kind of busy and didn't want to. I think it's already an ambitious project what we put out there, but let's see where this is going. Yeah, in a perfect world, this kickstarts something where other people can get involved, and hopefully that could be like a basis, a database for also substantive content, I would assume. As always, depending on the funding we get. Yes. Yeah, definitely. Any other questions?
Again, thank you very much. This is very interesting resources. My question relates a bit provocative thinking on the cooperation with IHL clinics as well. So how do you see this platform and these resources connecting to the global network of IHL clinics? Also thinking about the responses that we got in the surveys, that some clinics mentioned that they were part of the network because they were in touch with it. So some others, although they were in exchange conferences, they were not. They said they would be willing to re-engage. So I just wanted to, especially in the part that says the IHL Clinic network and the information that might be shared there, how do you see that this can be expanded in this way apart from the IHL RED project? Thank you.
Thanks. Excellent question. I think this page as a hub is hopefully there to stay. And I can say that at least RUP has is going to be invested in this in the way that they will pay for the website costs. And so this network will continue even if the funding of the project runs out. And of course, the idea is to, as you said, link it with this global network, because now there is a page dedicated to this and there is a process on how to get your data out there and to link others with each other. And with this dedicated Moodle course, also a platform where you can actually even further nitty-gritty link people with each other. And so that would be the hope, that once we have this set up in the final way, there's a little bit of work still ahead of us, that this can then be the resource for this.
And I want to say how this is going to look in the future. We still have to see, as we discussed in our, I think, morning session. I think there is a tendency that a lot of people would be in favor to have annual meetings, being them online or not. Since Leiden was somehow initiating this global IHL clinic network, we had to realize that let's put it like this: we thought it's a good idea to put that on more shoulders, yeah. So to have more partners involved. And I want to say, even though this is now due to the funding background, because it came from the European Union, was organized and created by European clinics, but my vision, and I think the colleagues share that, is that we think globally, worldwide, and just to get as many people on board as possible, and then find a way how to organize ourselves in a sustainable way. And again, I have the feeling it might. There was quite some time that Johanna and I and some other colleagues, we tried to really push for establishing Leiden as the global hub for IHL Clinic Network, and try to get funding. And I think my dream was that the Clooney Foundation came to us and said, like, here you have 5 million euros, and for the next 20 years you have no problems. If that had happened, I had told everyone. So maybe we need to find different solutions in that regard, and maybe have like a head of the network on a rotating basis. Yeah. So and maybe then I'm not sure whether it needs to be every year or every 2 years or something. Because as I think also became clear through the survey, we all feel that this is a lot of work. So that I have to say from my side, despite the fact that I always try to think globally or regionally, I also at one point tried to bring all Dutch clinics together. The first priority is always the clinic as such, to run my clinic and to finish our projects. And then sometimes, even with the best intentions, we didn't manage to send around more information on the clinic network. So I think this is maybe an idea to discuss and hopefully to keep discussing. And I'm happy that this now has like a bigger platform, because I think probably people get tired of hearing that. Since I became a father, I realized it's always good to have multiple parents. Usually you only have 2 for a baby, but like for a clinic network, it would be good if there are aunts and cousins and godfathers or godmothers who help nourish that child. So everyone is invited.
If there are no further questions, which does not seem to be the case, then I thank you, of course, all for for attending and for your patience. And then we would come to the closing of the clinic. And Giulio, I don't know whether you, as our host and distinguished organizer, would like to take the opportunity, or how we shall proceed here.
No, thanks, Robin, for basically arranging this final section. I was very impressed by the result we were able to achieve, regardless that we work each of us in a small piece of the puzzle. The broad picture is quite impressive. Of course, I was really fan of the AI generated tool, which I think with the only one that it could definitely increase the chance to be appreciated by different actors. It's very friendly user. It's fantastic. So well done, well done. But just to conclude, yes, I think it's good to keep the network alive, and of course to increase the chance of collaboration in this regard, to facilitate such partnership. Is complex, as usually we said. At the same time, I think it's not totally impossible, regardless of the lack of funding which could be there. But at the same time, there are other ways, as also we discussed about some online option, maybe a bit more structured, with a clear agenda of what we want to do, to discuss, to keep it on a yearly basis. Is helpful, I think, in order to avoid that everything is lost, and also to have at least a sort of digital physical infrastructure, even still digital, like the web page with the legal clinics, where people can upload what they have done. I think it's a very basic point, starting point for it. So I'm sure we will work hard in the next months in order also to fix this point, and also the survey as already provided us with more people around, so that we are not also somehow aware. So I'm sure they will be happy to collaborate to populate this further tool. So having said that, I would simply thank all of you for having participated both online or in presence here in Rome. And of course, we just look forward next year.